All right. Okay, yeah, that's going. All right, so thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. It's usually just ladies and gentlemen for coming today. Like I said, I know you're all busy, but thanks for helping me participate in this course that I'm doing and giving your time. So, as you all know, I'm Victor, and I'll just show for my assessors that you're all in here.
How's it going?
So I've got the 8 people in the class. Thank you. All right, like I said, today I'll be presenting to you one of the units of competency in the course that I'm currently involved in the Business Administration and Assessing course. And this competency I'll be doing today is work effectively in a business environment. Okay, so this unit basically describes the skills and knowledge that are required for you to work effectively in a business environment. This will include identifying and working to organisational standards, managing your workloads, and be working as part of a team. This hopefully will relate to you all here today, like I said, being that you all work as a team in a business environment, being here for JobLink Plus. So hopefully it's something you can relate to. And like I said, I'll try and put this more in a structured way. Like I'll split it up into the competencies and into the elements and the performance criteria for each of those elements. Okay, so what the elements mean is that the elements describe the essential outcomes. With the elements for this competency, there is 3 of them. First one's work with organisational requirements, work in a team, and the third one is develop effective work habits. Okay, so with the first element being work with organisational requirements, there are several performance criteria. These criteria describe the performance needed to demonstrate achievement of the element. So basically, these performance criteria are what you here need to demonstrate so as to show that you've achieved as such. All right, so with the first element, work with organisational requirements, there are several performance criteria, and that's just what I'll go through with you now. So you need to be able to identify and read organisational requirements and responsibilities and seek advice from appropriate persons. So basically the employee responsibilities I'll just go through. So most of the responsibilities of your employer will be outlined in your employment, workplace agreements or awards. Some employees do not have a formal contract to sign, so in this case you would have to refer to the relevant award and or your letter of appointment for details of your employees' responsibilities. So it's your employees' responsibilities are to meet the conditions of your contract or award, to provide a safe working environment, ensure non-discriminatory practices, and to take affirmative action, and to apply duty of care. Okay, so this means being able to review documentation so as to identify relevant information for requirements of your job role in the JobLink organisation. You'll also need to be able to clarify the requirements and responsibilities of your job role and organisation, and this by using effective questioning and listening techniques to seek advice, information and feedback. Okay, so if you have any doubt in trying to achieve this, you would seek clarification when required. Basically, as I said earlier, seeking advice from the appropriate persons where necessary. All right, so now another performance criteria is being able to develop and utilise the current working knowledge and understanding of employee and employer rights and responsibilities. So here you would need to complete documentation necessary for work tasks and reporting requirement, making sure you're using clear, concise and accurate grammar and language. For this, you will need to comply with the relevant duty of care, the legal responsibilities and the organisation goals and objectives. So here you need to recognise the organisation's expectations and be allowed to follow explicit protocols and procedures. Okay, so with that, the duty of care of employees and responsibilities. So I'll just go through some of these employee responsibilities. One of them is the Equal Opportunities Act, and that's of the Commonwealth and the states, makes it unlawful to discriminate against a person because of race or ethnic background, physical, intellectual or psychological impairment, sex, pregnancy, marital status or religious belief. Another one's discrimination. This is treating a person less favourably than someone else in the same or similar circumstances. Another one is also legal to discriminate against people when advertising a job vacancy. And there's also indirect discrimination. And this is built into the system, for example, the setting of a condition with which one group can comply more easily than another. There's sexual harassment's another one. This is behaviour of a sexual nature that's unwelcome, it's unsolicited and unappreciated. It can be physical, verbal or written. And then there's affirmative action. It's positive action to help remove the problems and barriers women face in the employment. There's employee associations in Australia are usually active political lobbyists, making representations and submissions to government concerning industrial relations issues on behalf of employees. And award restructuring. This is where employees and unions agree to make changes to the industrial awards, covering the way that work is organised, the range of duties employees carry out, and the training that is provided for them. Now another performance criteria is being able to identify roles and responsibilities of fellow colleagues and immediate supervisors. So you all need to be able to work as a team to achieve the common goal. I'd say it's like getting job seekers into employment, giving them the tools to achieve this, while all the time having supervisors above you ensuring this is all occurring efficiently. So you also need to be able to identify the standards and values considered detrimental to the organisation and being able to communicate this through the appropriate channels. You need to be able to follow clear instructions within the defined level of responsibility. Now, you also have to be able to identify, recognise and follow behaviour contributing to a safe work environment. You need to adhere to OH&S obligations for organisations as implemented. Even more, I'd say nowadays, like I said, with the COVID-19, a good example even here today, like I said, we're all going to show again in that safe distancing through there. Safe distancing. Now the second element, very important in any organisation, is, like I said, being able to work in a team. This is where you need to be able to demonstrate that you display courteous and helpful to your fellow workers at all times. You need to be able to identify and display a non-discriminatory attitude in all engagements. And this is with all fellow staff members, management and your clients. And like I said before, when I said about those employees' responsibilities, I'll just quickly run through a few of them for you as well. So as an employee, you have certain responsibilities for how you should behave in your workplace. You have legal responsibilities such as those related to health and safety, and job-specific responsibilities such as those listed in your position descriptions. And you need to comply with health and safety responsibilities, so I'll just go through a bit of that with you as well. So as an employee, you have a responsibility to act with care and due regard for your own safety and that of others. All employees must contribute to a safe and healthy workplace. You need to be aware of and follow safety procedures such as identifying and reporting risks or hazards, using business equipment according to guidelines, and ensuring your workstation is all set up correctly. If you're familiar with your organisation's policies and procedures for work, health and safety, then it should be easy to identify unsafe practices or situations. Watch out for potential hazards and identify poor safety behaviour in other people by following safety instructions and warnings. Report anything that is unsafe to the appropriate person. And keep the work environment safe by watching out for hazards. This is in all areas, say in the kitchen area, free from spills. In the office areas and walkways, keep the corridors clear. Exits, keep clear and easily accessible. Workshop factory areas, watch out for potential hazards and wear appropriate protective clothing. Workstations, position your chair, desk, screen and telephone to suit your needs. And the equipment, follow the manufacturer's instructions with the equipment you're using. And work habits, take regular breaks and exercise to avoid occupational overuse syndrome. And I'll just quickly go for a bit of the work health and safety legislation for this part of the competency. So work health and safety legislation, it's designed to protect the health, safety and welfare of all people at work. You therefore need to be aware of and know how to access current work health and safety legislation and other documentation relevant to your specific workplace, occupation and industry. This documentation includes regulations, codes of practice and your organisation's health and safety policies and procedures. Keeping up to date with this information is essential. And so one of the most recent changes has been the National Workplace Health and Safety reforms that resulted in the development of the Work Health and Safety Act of 2011. These reforms are designed to improve national work health and safety by simplifying the system and making laws more consistent across Australia. Okay, now just go into the second element, which is, like I said, we spoke before, is about working in a team. So this is where you need to be able to demonstrate that you display courteous and helpful to your fellow workers at all times. You need to be able to identify and display a non-discriminatory attitude in all engagements with fellow staff members and with management and your clients. Okay, and you'll need to be able to contribute to an effective working environment by communicating with others, by behaving courteously and using non-discriminatory language. And like I said, with those, with teamwork, I'll just go through the benefits of teamwork in the workplace. Okay. So I'll go through a couple of them, and first one's blending the complementary strengths. This is working together, so it lets employees build on the talents of their teammates. While your strengths may be creating thinking, a co-worker might share in organising and planning, and do not hesitate to share your abilities with the team. Often a team works well together because team members rely on each other to bring individual talents to the table. And by observing the process behind these skills, you can learn how to combine your gifts and become a stronger team. Okay, and every time you see co-workers utilising a different approach in sales, you have a chance to adjust or improve those methods. Another one is building trust. And this is relying on other people builds trust, and teamwork establishes strong relationships with co-workers. Despite occasional disagreements, an effective team enjoys working together and shares a strong bond. When you put your trust in a co-worker, you are establishing the foundation of a relationship that can endure minor conflicts. Okay, trust in your teammates also provides a feeling of safety that allows ideas to emerge. It helps employees open up and encourage each other. Open communication is key when working on a team and produces effective solutions in difficult group projects. So without trust, the team crumbles and cannot succeed on assigned projects. Great teams build each other up and strengthen individual members to create a cohesive group. By working together, employees learn that wins and losses affect everyone in the team. Teamwork necessitates confidence in each other's distinct abilities. Okay, another one is teaches conflict resolution skills. So conflicts inadvertently happen when you're put together in a group of different unique people. So employees come from varied backgrounds and have different work styles and habits. So while these unique viewpoints create the most successful work, they can also generate resentment, and it quickly turns into conflict. When conflict arises in teamwork situation, employees are forced to resolve the conflicts themselves instead of turning to management. Learning conflict resolution firsthand is a skill that employees can use to become efficient managers down the road. Another one in teamwork is promote a wider sense of ownership. So team projects encourage employees to feel proud of their contributions. Tackling obstacles and creating notable work together makes team members feel fulfilled. Working toward achieving company goals allows employees to feel connected to the company. So this builds loyalty, leading to a higher level of job satisfaction among employees. And teamwork is not just helpful for employees, it benefits the employee in the long run as well. Employees that connect directly with their workplace are more likely to stay with the company, while employees leaving their jobs often cite a lacking salary. Another common complaint is that their contributions do not seem to matter. Teamwork allows people to engage with the company and add to the bigger picture. And acting as a team allows members to take more risks as they have the support of the entire group to fall back on in case of failures. Conversely, sharing success as a team is a bonding experience. Once a team succeeds together, their brainstorming sessions will produce revolutionary ideas without hesitation. And in many cases, the riskiest idea turns out to be the best idea. Teamwork allows employees the freedom to think outside the box. And like I said, do not allow competitive natures to get in the way of personal growth in the workplace. Instead, understand how to resolve conflicts and trust teammates to contribute their best ideas. Learn from the team members and build on each other's skills to create more impressive results in the workplace. And like I said, you'll need to be able to contribute to an effective working environment by communicating with others, by behaving courteously and using non-discriminatory language. And as part of it, working in a team, you need to complete allocated tasks, being able to review documentation, to identify relevant information for requirements of the role within the team. And so working in a team involves behaving in a courteous and helpful manner, cooperation, mutual respect and effort, and a non-discriminatory manner. Positive group synergy can get jobs done more quickly if there is inclusion, control, acceptance, effective leadership and group cohesiveness. Decisions in a team are made by authority, consensus, majority and compromise. Okay, and when difficulties arise, which I'm sure happens regularly, you just need to be able to seek assistance or working together as a team. Okay, so seeking assistance when difficulties arise. If difficulties arise when you're carrying out your work, it's important to seek assistance before the situation gets too out of hand. If you feel unable to ask for help about workplace problems, you may end up not completing work on time and let people down. If the problem persists, you may worry more and stress levels may increase. People may find it hard to ask for help because either they fear people may think them weak or too dependent on others, and they fear people may think they are not competent at their job, think that they should be able to handle all situations, and have a supervisor who is not an approachable supervisor. And different types of difficulties. So during the working life, you'll encounter many difficulties in the workplace. Some of these difficulties will be within your control and others will be out of your control. So regardless of the circumstances, it is important to recognise that there are people in your workplace who are willing to assist you. If you choose not to ask for assistance, this can have a major effect on you, your co-workers, and ultimately the organisation. It takes courage and honesty to communicate and ask for help. So remember the saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. Your colleagues and supervisors cannot offer you the benefit of their support, experience and problem solving if you don't ask them, obviously. Okay. And you need to be able to have the ability to use questioning techniques to clarify instructions or responsibilities. And the third element is to develop effective work habits. So here you need to be able to identify work and personal priorities. So here these need to be separated. Both have priorities, but they do need to be separated into your work priorities and then into your personal priorities. And by separating them is a way to achieve a work-life balance. You don't need to be bringing, like we said, personal priorities into your work, thus maybe getting confused and blending them into your work priorities. Losing all my notes. And developing effective work habits, I'll just go through a bit of that now with you all now. So developing good work habits and time management practices is often a matter of developing proper attitudes towards work and time. People with good work habits are more successful in their careers than those who are poorly organised, and they tend to have more time to spend on their personal life as well. And good work habits are more important than ever because of today's emphasis on productivity and quality. It is, however, important to create a good balance between work and your personal life. Career goals you've set for yourself will fall flat if your mind or body can't keep up with competing priorities. You may become stressed or burnt out. Okay, and you need to be able to apply time management strategies to your work duties. You need to follow clearly defined instructions and sequencing and monitor your own progress for tasks, seeking assistance when necessary. And developing effective work habits. I'll just go through a few of them with you all now. So to work effectively, you should prioritise your work schedule and use active and effective listening and questioning. To help you work more effectively, you should know your job, make sure your aptitudes, abilities and skills meet the requirements of the job and that you have the correct values and attitudes. You should organise your workplace and improve your time management strategies. Okay, and office automation has changed both the way work is done and the way workers are viewed by management. A supervisor or manager should work to overcome resistance to change and encourage the adoption of new attitudes to change in the workplace. Okay, so in this element, you also need to demonstrate that you observe appropriate dress and behaviour as required by the job role. So what we've been hearing here is the elements of each of the elements' performance criteria within the unit of competency, which this competency was work effectively in a business environment. In the performance evidence, we'll see that it's the evidence of the ability to work with organisational requirements, including complying with duty of care and goals and objectives in organisation, complying with legal responsibilities and seeking advice when necessary. Understanding workers' rights and responsibilities. And I had some of them here. Sorry, I'll try not to all over the shop today. Okay, so like I was saying, you need to understand the workers' rights and responsibilities, understanding achieving a work-life balance. Okay, and you need to be able to work effectively in a team, which includes completing all tasks, seeking assistance when difficulties arise, applying communication principles, applying appropriate legislation. And I'll just go through a couple of those principles of effective communication with you now. One of them would be to have a goal. So first you need to determine what you want your audience to do or get out of the communication. At the start, intentionally crafting your communication to reach for that goal will make it much more effective. Decide what can best demonstrate the goals have been met, whether it clicks or shares with them. And another one is effective communication is to listen. So good communications is never one way. It's why no one likes being struck with, like I said, just being told something without having two-way conversation. So without, like I said, making sure the other person gets a chance to get a word in as well. And adjust to your medium. And this is basically contexting about where and how your communication is being consumed is a vital factor to consider. So, for example, you wouldn't say certain things through written communication because the tone and inflection of the spoken word isn't there. In the same vein, you would communicate differently on the phone than you would face-to-face with a person. Another one is to stay organised. So when starting out, create a cohesive, high-level outline that includes your goals, your main points to get across, and the main ways you're going to illustrate them for the audience. So stay focused on this plan, be methodic in your research. Okay, another one is to be persuasive. This is the whole reason about while you're communicating is to do it well. Different people are persuaded differently. So if appropriate, appeal to their rational side and with relevant facts to back up your main argument. Okay, and another one is to be clear. Like I said, keep your writing clear and concise. Moreover, explicitly state what you're arguing. Keep it as short as possible, avoiding long words when a short one will do. And generally, keep your sentences below 30 words. Usually this just requires going through a few rounds of editing to take out what's not necessary. And another one you can do is using stories. Another way to communicate with your audience and communicate your ideas is with relevant illustrative stories. People are natural storytellers and listeners. This inborn trait stretches across cultures and especially evident with when you have kids and so forth like that. And another one is just less is more. Your audience is likely busy, so don't waste their time with irrelevant parts, repeated information or details that may be not related and don't help with their main communication goal. It will lead to a disengagement, less information being retained and taking away the effectiveness of your efforts. And good communication is effective communication. So communication is the cornerstone of the profession. It's to be effective, whether selling a product, trying to convince a group to act or getting your team aligned. These communication principles should help focus your thoughts into something both powerful and useful. And okay, to complete the unit requirements safely and effectively, saying the individual must identify the legislation that applies to working effectively in a business environment, outline the organisational documents that are relevant to working effectively, and outline terms and conditions of employment. Now, with all of this, any assessment by the employee must be conducted in a safe environment with evidence gathered demonstrates consistent performance of typical activities experienced in the industry context field of work and includes access to relevant legislation and codes of practice, organisational policies and procedures, relevant workplace documentation and resources, case studies and, where possible, real situations, and interaction with others. And let's go through with the employer responsibilities. Most of the responsibilities of your employee will be outlined in your contract of employment, workplace agreement or reward. So some employees do not have a formal one to sign, so in this case you would have to refer to the relevant award and meeting the conditions of that award, set out in the contract, it's like I said, the responsibility of your employer to update the contract and review your salary and conditions if the requirements of your job change, such as when you were given more responsibility or asked to work longer hours. Okay, so hopefully now you have a bit more of a clearer picture of the various elements of being able to work effectively in a business environment. Now I'll just ask if anyone has any questions. Question one.
Yes, I do. So you were talking about teamwork and things before. So have you ever been in a position where you haven't, found it difficult to work with a manager or a team member?
Okay. Thanks, Jess. Yeah, employees might be, like I said, the question measures your ability to work as a team, accept the supervision, and like I said, you've got to try and be honest and keep a positive tone. Like I said, not always going to be agreeing all the time with one, but like I said, it's just trying to get your thoughts out there. Like I said, sometimes it takes a bit of time to adjust to a new manager or a team or another leader in a team environment. However, as long as you take the time to connect and clarify expectations, I think everything sort of works out okay. Like I said, you just need that bit of an adjustment period for that, I think.
Thank you.
Any other questions while we're here?
Yeah, I have one. What strategies do you use to motivate your team?
Thanks, Carly. Yeah, like I said, strategies that you could use to motivate you. Teamwork's all about collaboration. It also needs, like I said, leadership. This question gives you the chance to sort of highlight your leadership abilities and show the interviewer whether you might be the leader of the team. Employees, like I said, they may appreciate creative techniques that produce positive results. And like I said, an ideal candidate answers with confidence and creativity. All right.
I think that with some of the things, and we could probably all add into this about things like we've all been in some sort of management or team leader role, and some of the things that we do is to motivate each other. That.
Yeah.
What sort of things do we
bounce ideas off each other?
And I think you summed it up perfectly when you spoke about in a team, everyone kind of working on their own strengths and what I may lack. So say my recruitment's not my strongest point, but it's Carly's. So we work quite well together. I guess, our strengths are different and we work quite well as a team. And then Kate as well, she's got her strengths too. So that was explained quite well.
What sort of other things?
I guess when we've got a common team target that we need to meet, I guess bouncing ideas off each other and kind of thinking outside the box on how we're actually going to meet that team target and collaborate with the different skill set that we've got and different strong suits that we've got. Yeah.
And finding what works for people. Not everybody's motivated by the same things.
Absolutely.
Different things. It's actually finding what works for people.
Yeah.
To get the best out of everybody, I think.
Yeah.
As well.
Because I suppose competition motivates me.
Yeah, it's the same as me, that's something that would make me.
Whereas I'm not a competitive person whatsoever. I'm happy to be last forever, you know, like, as long as I know the job that I'm doing is the best of my ability and it's meeting my job description as such, I'm happy with that. Not that I coast, but
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't have to be number one, you know, it's, turtle in the head.
Yeah. I think that works, like
It
as
does.
a team, like
Yeah.
we've all got our different strengths and abilities, and I
It
think
makes
that
us,
just
yeah, it
I
makes
think
us
we
more of a
all
cohesive
work.
If we were
team.
all here to be number one, you'd probably have more workplace conflicts. Yeah.
So what sort of things would you take into consideration, Vic, when you were managing the schedules of others?
All right, so yeah, well, when you manage the schedule of others, you need to consider sort of these areas. I'd say adequate time between appointments is one. Giving meal breaks, like I said, how many appointments are practical for the one day? You don't want to be overloading them with too much work that they can't achieve on the time. And like I said, the length of time it'll take to complete a project, you don't want to give them not enough time to whatever sort of project you're giving your team to do. Like I said, setting realistic deadlines, travel time. Like I said, I know you go away to Tamworth and different places. You want to give them time to be able to get there and stuff like that. You don't want to be trying to rush it too much. And like I said, be flexible in the schedule if it required. Like I said, it doesn't have to be set in concrete and stuff like that. All right, so is anything else? Any other questions or anything else?
So going back to the schedules and managing new employees and things like that, I guess if someone just wasn't able to meet those deadlines and they were quite reasonable, would that be up to management to maybe mentor them, sit down with them, make sure that they are meeting their deadlines?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you want to give them sufficient time to complete the task, but I'm not saying give them a week to do it when it could be done in a day, I suppose. Like I said, you're not giving them, it's not up to them to set the schedule. You need to, like I said, be realistic though. Don't make it, that's what I think, too hard to do in certain times. So.
Yeah, and how would you work with somebody that, if I came to you and said, I'm struggling to meet my deadline, what are some things that you could help me with?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's, like I said, good question. Like I said, you're not just giving them more time to do it, but giving them some tools to help them to achieve the goal that you set them. Might be, like I said, could be stuff on the internet. It could be like I said, a slideshow or something that you've got, or like something that assists them, or stuff that assisted you prior with it. You might, or it could be a fellow team member that's done that project before. You could say, perhaps if you'd like to go and ask Carly, she did this last year, she'd have an idea on how to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose because you've got to be a little bit careful when it comes to scheduling others that you're not, I suppose, I don't know what the term it is now, but in my day it was called micromanaging.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to schedule them up that you're micromanaging every single thing that they do. And where you said about giving them flexibility and, offering them support instead of, I suppose, telling them what to do as well. I think you get a better response from staff if you don't tell your support.
And that gives them an option to have a bit of an input too into things. And some people are different type of learners. Some people are visual. Some people are verbal. So sitting down and having input, I guess, in their day might motivate them a little bit more.
Yeah, that's good. Well, like I said, that's sort of coming to the conclusion of this schedule, which was working effectively in a business environment. So hopefully, it's given you a bit more of an understanding on what's Yeah, so that's good. So is that okay? You're happy with that?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Discussion.
Thanks, Victor.
All right, well, thank you all for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.